I wanted to figure out what it was that you were doing. So I went and spoke with many of my team members to find out what your secret sauce was. And she said, I can't figure out what it is. And I said, well, there's actually three things. Every time I work with someone, I'm looking at three specific things. And I'm giving you the bottom line right away, so that if you aren't able to stay for the whole thing, you'll know that you're really focusing on these three things. First, improve the quality of the questions that you're asking during the conversations that you have. All right. Two is work on how you share your experience and polish it and fine tune it. Our research shows that once you get past 4 sentences in length at any time in your conversation, you lose the client and your sales will go down. All right. And then finally is referrals. And you'll see the reason why all of these are the 3 main things as we go through this together. So what I'm going to do is just share the first question that I'm going to ask, which we're going to focus in on is, how do your prospects make their decision to buy? That's 1. 2 is, how do you start your sales conversations so that you're navigating them as effectively as possible? And I'll actually share with you several questions. And then, what is the most effective sales strategy to grow your coaching business? And I can say from my personal experience, over 20 years plus, that this one particular strategy has created 7 figures plus. Okay. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is, as I do, it'll become clearer and clearer and clearer to you. And you're going to go, oh, this is so simple. The thing that will happen is, it won't be something that other people, you know, when you go to buy something and the salesperson speaking with you, and you can tell that they've gone into these manipulative sales techniques. Have you ever had that feeling? Yeah. Okay. This is not that, okay? And so people won't feel it or know that it's coming. So what I'm going to ask that you do for me is solemnly swear. So if you don't mind raising your right hand and just repeat after me. I solemnly swear to sell with the purest of intent. All right? I solemnly swear, great, to sell with the purest of intent. Perfect. All right. And so first piece of research is that much of clients' buying decisions are complete before they even speak with a salesperson. All right. And for those of you who are taking notes, I have a few screens for you to utilize if you wish. And here we are. So much of your clients' buying decisions are complete before they speak with you. Now, you may say, okay, Peri, what does this actually mean and how does this impact our conversations? We're going to look at that, okay? And what I've done in looking and combing through the research, this comes from multiple sources. And I've worked with 4 neuroscience grad students as we comb through the research. And then the opportunity, because of the worlds I get to play in, I get the opportunity to test this content. Largest sales team I've worked with is 700 salespeople. And as you can probably imagine, they track almost everything that they do. And so there's like ticker boards, and we can see how, change one thing, how does that change your results? All right. And I'm a believer that this is the research, but let's test it ourselves. Okay. So let's qualify this. So if I was 25% of my buying decision complete, meaning I'm browsing, then that would mean I'm most likely not going to buy. Okay. 75% chance I'm not going to buy. And if I'm 50% chance that I'm going to buy or not buy, because you're sitting on that fence, then we call that window shopping. All right. And then a 75%er, and we're going to test this amongst ourselves, okay? So these qualifications are important for us to know about. And so 75% means we know we're going to buy, we just don't know which product, okay? And then the 100%ers, they know they're going to buy and they know what product. All right. And this would be like, for example, my husband, when he goes to buy a piece of technology, he does all of his research first. And then when he goes into the store to buy it, I like to watch how he does this. He goes in, speaks to the salesperson goes in behind, gets the box, comes back out, and my husband looks at the box front and back real quick. And then he hands over his credit card, and within moments, he's got a bag and he's out of the store. Okay, that's your 100%ers. So I refer to this as a spectrum of buying. All right. And so we're going from 0 point all the way to it's a done deal. Okay, with those 100%ers. So we're moving straight across. All right. So let's, for example, let's just test this with what I'm wearing. So with my jacket, I knew the day that I was going to buy the jacket, that I was going to buy that day. I just didn't know which suit I was going to buy. All right. So would I be at 25%, 50%, 100%, or would I be at 75? Okay. Yeah, that's where I was. I was at the 75% mark. So I'd like you to choose something that you've purchased in the last year or two with the help of a salesperson. That's the key part, is that it must be with the help of a salesperson. And it can be like me, it could be a piece of clothing, like my husband, a piece of technology. It could be a car. It could be a house. It could be anything at all, just with the help of the salesperson. So I'd like you to think of something, because we're going to test this. And once you've selected something, I'd like you just to put a Y in the chat, meaning yes, that you've selected something, so that we are, great to have someone with us from North Carolina. Lubna, great to have you with us. Great. Yes. Okay, great. Once you've got something chosen, just put in the Y in the chat. That would be great. And so now, thank you. I'm grateful that you've got your pieces, your items chosen. Excellent. Okay. So now comes the question, and that is, where were you on the spectrum of your buying? What percentage of your buying decision did you have complete before you spoke to the salesperson? Okay. So before you spoke to the salesperson, were you at 0, 25, 50, 75, or 100% of your buying decision complete? And look at our answers. The majority of the group, we've got 75, 75, 75, 75. Great. And we have 100%er. Was that a piece of technology by any chance? All right. No. All right. So now what I'd like to ask is, where is your typical client on the spectrum of their buying decision before they speak with you? Are they at 0, 25, 50, 75, or 100% of their buying decision complete before they speak with you? 75 to 100, great. 50, 100%, great. 75, 50, awesome. All right. And what we're going to be looking at is some of those things that you can be doing to move them further along in that buying decision. All right. So that then, because ideally, what you would like to have them is between that 75 to 100% mark in the buying decision. All right. And often when we go to buy, like when we had the 75 for the things that you've purchased, companies and other individuals do things to help move you further along in their buying decision. And once you learn some of those things, it'll help you with that regard. Okay. And so I just want to put out a definition of selling that will help you, because a lot of people define selling as, twisting arms to slam dunk a close or influencing people to buy, that kind of thing. Based on the neuroscience, selling is about helping others with their buying decisions. Okay. That puts us on the same side as them. It means our job is to find out where they are in their buying decision and help them with the remainder of that buying decision. Okay. And even if it's not us, that's a match. All right. I remember last year, I had somebody who was so certain that I was the person that was exactly what they needed to, get the results they were looking for. And I said, let's have a conversation and let's see what the issues are. And depending on what happens in our conversation, if I'm not a match, I'll recommend someone else who is. And they said, no, you're it. And I don't know. And so during the conversation, it became very clear that what he thought I do is not what I do. Okay. And so I said, you know what? I'm not a match for you right now. Can I introduce you to two people? You decide, interview them both, and decide who's the best match for you. And he said, oh, I'm disappointed. I said, that's okay. I said, I think they'll work with you really well. What happens is he worked with them. And then a couple of months later, calls me back. And he says, I think I'm ready for you now. And lo and behold, he was. So remember that it's about building the relationship and helping them with the buying decision they have. All right. So this is what we're focusing in on the spectrum of buying. That's the key factor. And so part of it is figuring out where people are through our conversations. And now we're going to look at this in the context of marketing and what we can do to move people further along. So let's say right now, your marketing is such that people come, as some of you have indicated here, people come to your conversation with 50% of their buying decision complete. So that means you still have 50% to take them in the conversation. And so that means your conversations are longer than they would be if they're further along in their buying decision. Okay. And this is a key factor for making you more effective and more efficient in your business. And here's the thing. In your conversations, you are getting intel that is really, really helpful for you to be able to put into your marketing. Why? Because as you're having the conversations with people, you will begin to notice patterns of what their problems are. And as you notice those patterns, you then take that information and you put it in your content marketing. All right. And then what happens is, like right now from your marketing, they come at 50%. Well, guess what? You've been tracking the problems they've had for about a week. You change your marketing or add some things to your marketing. Guess what? You now, the following weeks, you've moved them along exactly. Okay. And so you've moved them along in their buying decision so that therefore your conversations are shorter. But it doesn't stop there. This is a continual process. Okay. So you continue to track what are the problems that they're having, and then making sure that you include that in your content marketing. So you continue to move them further and further along in their buying decision. And this will help make your marketing that much more effective, but it will also make your sales conversations that much better. All right. Is this making sense for everybody in terms of a process for your marketing? Rather, because here's what many people do. They purely go to the SEO research, but that's a larger pool than your ideal client. Okay. So ideally, you want to really focus in on your ideal client. Okay. And so your sales conversations inform your marketing to move your clients further along in their buying decisions. Okay. And this is a helpful piece for us to keep in mind as we're building our content going forward. All right. So let's now look at referrals. All right. So a few years back, I was given a referral to a doctor in Toronto. A friend of mine who is a medical general from another province, he said to me, Peri, I'm going to find you the best doctor in Toronto. So can you imagine when I picked up the phone to call that doctor's office, what percentage of my buying decision was complete? I'd like you just to take a wild guess and put it into the chat. Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. Yes. Okay. 80%. Okay. We got someone who's a little skeptical, Jimmy. 76. Okay. Great. 99. All right. The person on the other end of the phone would have had to have done something really off for me to decide not to have. I don't think there would be actually anything that person could have done for me to decide not to have that first appointment with the doctor. Okay. Because of the recommendation that came. And so what I'd like you to do is think of a referral that you were given to professional service of some kind that you called the office. Okay. So it can be like me, a doctor. It could be a vet. It could be an accountant. It could be a realtor, a dentist, a lawyer, a bookkeeper. It could be any professional service. Okay. So let me know that you've actually selected something by putting a Y in the chat, saying yes, you've chosen something. Is the professional service that you were referred to and you called the office. Okay, perfect, great. So when you were given the referral, what percentage of your buying decision was complete? Were you at 0, 25, 50, 75, or 100%? Great. Okay, look at our responses. 75, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, and 100%. Okay. And what we've got as the majority here is not unusual. Okay. Once there is a referral involved, we move people further along in the buying decision. Okay. So originally they may have been at 75, but if you go through other means using your marketing, but if you have a referral, they're usually at the 100% mark. Okay. Which means your sales conversations are much shorter. It really becomes about the logistics. Okay. More than anything else. And there's some additional research that I thought might be of interest to you. The lifetime value of a new referral client is 16% higher than a non-referred client. Would that not be another reason for wanting to actually have a referral-based business? And another piece of research for you in a second, and that is, so just to give you some context, so if you made $121,000 this past year, and the people didn't come via referrals, then that would be your number. But if they did come via referral, then this would be your number, $140,000 and $360. Okay. Each referred client gives an average of how many referrals? 2.86. Okay. So let's round this down for our numbers. And let's call it 2. All right. And so if we had one client who gave, let's say, 5 referrals, and that was non-referred, and then we had someone who is a referred client, and we've got 5 referred clients, each one of them would give 2 referrals on average. Okay. And I have some clients, I have 3 of my clients that have a referral competition amongst them. They know each other, and I didn't start this, they did. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a great strategy. I wonder how I could facilitate that in other places, but it's really neat. But a referral based business, when you develop a referral strategy, what happens then, those 2 additional from the one ends up giving you even more and 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 more clients. All right. And so part of it is for us to recognize the value and the power of a referral-based business. Okay. Too often we get sucked into the belief that certain other things will give us the best results. If you can think of your business as having, your coaching business as having multiple layers to it, and that there's a certain base, and that base can be the referral aspect. For 20 years in my business, I did not use a single bit of marketing. And I wanted to prove the point so much, I didn't even get a business card. And I owned a wholesale printing company that specialized in business cards. And I purposely didn't do a business card because I wanted to prove a point that referrals and repeat and referral business is a very strong way to run the types of businesses that we have. Okay. Add this to the 16%. So here you have a plethora of clients, but on top of that, the amount in which they purchase is 16% more than an average non-referred client. So as you can see, the value of referrals is very high with regards to a business. Okay. So developing a referral strategy can be one of your most profitable activities. Okay. And one of the things often when I get called to come into large organizations, they often allow me to interview the several salespeople to find out what they're doing as part of the research for a large training project. And I will ask the question, so tell me a little bit about your referral strategy. Do you know what I hear as an answer? Nothing. Actually, crickets. We don't develop it. Even though we know the value of it, we don't develop it. So this is something I'd like to plant as a seed with you to think about what is your referral strategy and how can you actually develop it further. Okay. So let's look at, well, how things are impacted by the way in which our clients come to us. Okay. So let's say you do cold calling. All right. Typically, somebody will be at 0 point if you're doing cold calling. If you're really lucky, they might be at 25%. All right. And that means you have a long way to take them in their buying decision during the conversation. And it makes your focus about creating interest. All right. Let's say they come from your website or from, say, LinkedIn. All right. Then typically, they'll be between 50 to 75% of their buying decision complete, which means the length of your conversations will be a little shorter than it will be with a cold call. And it means your focus is about discovering their interest during the conversation. Okay. Whereas when they come via referral, you have a shorter distance. In some cases, they're already there at 100%. If they're at the 75%, you've got the shortest length of time. And then you're confirming interest. Very different focus in your sales conversations versus if you are working on cold calling or other means. Okay. And it's very effective. And when you're looking at a referral strategy, think not only of clients giving referrals, but who are potential referral partners. That's also a great way by which to cause exponential growth. Because I look at a referral strategy with a client and with clients is a one-to-one activity. A referral partner is a one-to-many activity, okay, which creates a better dynamic. So let's look at what do you say at the beginning of your conversations, because your questions in your conversation, your sales conversations, are the GPS to your sales conversation. Okay. And there are many ways you can take someone in a conversation based on the questions you ask, but how you start will save you a lot of time. Okay. And let me share a little secret with you that we've discovered over the years. Is that if you ask your first question connected to how they found you, you will very quickly discover what buying criteria that they are using, so you know what direction to take your conversation. So let's say they come from LinkedIn, okay? And what I might ask is, what is it about my profile that caused you to reach out? Okay. And if you looked at my profile, there's a lot of things there. I've been around for a while. And so there's articles there, there's videos, etc. So there could be multiple things that caught their attention. So if someone says, oh, I was watching that video where you were talking about the neuroscience of sales, and it's just something I really need to work on in order to do better and grow my business, that's one conversation. I know I have a sense of where they're going, and I know what to ask next. But if they say, oh, Peri, we were watching the videos about training the team and the leadership team on how to increase sales, I know we're going in a different direction. Okay. And then it helps me help them in a shorter period of time. All right. So let's say, I'll give you a few more. So let's say that the individual comes from, hang on just a second, it comes from watching a video of you somewhere, okay? And so they've seen the video. What you might do is say, what part of the video spoke to you most? All right. Another example, if they come via referral, since that's something I hope after today you're going to spend more time on, is they're going to be either at 75 to 100%. And what you're going to do is say something like, what was it that whoever gave the referral, so what was it that Andre said that piqued your interest? Oh, well, Andre was talking about the fact that they doubled their sales results in 6 weeks. I really want to be able to do that too. Okay. And so now you know where you're going in the conversation. Okay. And it helps immensely. All right. And I'm leaving this open because I noticed some of you are taking some notes, and I want to make sure that you have the ability to capture that. Okay. Thanks. All right. So our questions were, and we're going to open it up for questions from you in a moment. And because we are a small group, Anastasia, we can either ask them to take themselves off mute, or we could do them in the chat, depending on what you would suggest. Okay. So the question was, how do your prospects make their decision to buy? Well, using the spectrum of buying, they've already made a large portion of their buying decision already. And our goal is to have them between the 75 to 100% of their buying decision complete by the activities that we engage in. And you can do that by, keeping track of the problems that arise in the conversation, so that then you can utilize that in your content marketing. And then how do you start your sales questions? As I shared, you've got several options of several examples, but basically from how they found you, link that to what you're going to be talking about, okay? Because there'll be something there that's caused them to take that action. It's part of their buying decision, okay? And then what is the most effective sales strategy to grow your coaching business? And I'm sure you know the answer for that one. And that is by utilizing referrals, because it gives you the opportunity to increase exponentially in a very short period of time. And that's the reason why individuals and organizations in a very short period of time can double their results simply by having a really strong referral strategy. I've been able to see organizations triple sometimes, and sometimes on a rare occasion quadruple in a 6-week period. All right. So with that, I'd like to open it up for questions.
Thank you, Peri. Since it's a small group, I think you guys have these reactions at the bottom, so you can just put the hands up, or just unmute yourself and go ahead with the question. So whoever wants to go first, have any clarifying questions or anything else, please. Jamie?
I don't really have a question so much yet. One might come, but I want to say that, holy cow, Peri, this was amazing. I've been to a whole bunch of these different kinds of webinars and all about selling strategies and stuff like that. I have an entire page of notes, and this was really, really helpful and impactful. And the idea of using your selling conversation to feed your marketing strategy is great. And obviously, we all know that referrals, or maybe we don't know that referrals is the smartest thing, but the way you put it out today is really helpful and very, very simple. And you're like, well, of course, that's where I would spend my time. And so now I have to do that. So thank you.
Great. Well, I'm glad you found it so helpful. That's awesome.
Thank
That's
you,
great.
Jim. And we have a question in the chat from Amelia. Actually, 2 questions or 3. How to develop a referral strategy, then marketing versus sales conversations, and what does it look like?
Great. Okay, I'll start with the referral strategy. So it's multi-pronged, and you want to look at every aspect of your business as to what you can do to increase the referrals per se. One, you want to learn how to ask for referrals, and to do that, you really want to find somebody who you can practice with. And maybe even somebody within the in the federation that you can practice asking for referrals and see how it feels. Okay. It's real important to recognize most people don't ask for referrals. Okay. Yet, if there's someone who's really, really good at what they do you not want to share with others who you like and give referrals, and introduce them? And so for that reason, planting that seed with clients. So you want to pre-position it at the beginning of the relationship, and don't wait until you're at the end of the relationship to ask for a referral. Okay. Ask for it. Like if you're in a series of coaching, whatever the package is that you're selling, don't wait till the last day. Depending on the dynamic, how long it is, you might want to be asking in the second last one, or when they're most satisfied with what you're doing. All right. So that's with clients, but then you also want to be looking very carefully at who might be a really good referral partner. Okay. This is someone who is not a competitor. All right. Can't be a competitor at all, but has the same target audience as you do. Okay. That's my ideal. There's 2 ways of which to get a referral partner. There's a one-way referral partner. I prefer the 2-way referral partner. So you give them a referral, they give you a referral, and back and forth. So it feels like fair exchange. All right. Those are the ones that last the longest, is my experience. The ones that are one-way, you need to find out what you can do as a thank you to them for each referral. Otherwise, it won't continue. Okay. And then there'll be a point at which it sometimes peters out. But, and I would look very carefully at all those various aspects. And then the other part is, and this may sound like a very simple thing, but it's extremely important. I find I get the great referrals even when I don't ask. They start flowing in when I over deliver. Okay. I get to know my clients so well that I know what's most important to them, and we really focus in on highest priority. And then they're so content with what the results are that they get, that then they're saying, oh, I've got a friend who really wants to do this. Can you help? And so it becomes, I'm like, a couple of my clients refer to me as a secret weapon. And that's what you want, is that over delivery will be the key that will get you a constant flow of referrals per se. Okay. I then will go to the next question. Marketing versus sales conversations. Okay. What does it look like? Okay. So the difference between the two, am I correct, Amelia? And if you want to take yourself off mute, Amelia, to clarify the question, that's fine too. So, oh, great. You've taken yourself off mute.
Yeah, actually, I'm here.
Great. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much. Very educational. So yes, it's about the difference between one and the other.
Okay. So let's say in an average week, you're having, I don't know, 5 sales conversations. Okay. So in those sales conversations, what will happen is you're going to discover a pattern of some kind. So you may discover, let's say they have, let's say you're a relationship coach. Okay. I'm just making this up. Okay. Or Amelia, do you want to tell me what kind of coach you are? And then
Yes, I coach professionals.
okay. And on what specifically? Is there a particular?
On whatever professional life goes.
Okay, great. So let's say that you're finding for the professionals that you work with that the pattern that you've discovered in the last, few weeks is that, and it can also come from your coaching conversations too, by the way. But you're discovering that they're all having an issue, let's say with the imposter syndrome. Okay. So if they're all having challenges with the imposter syndrome and your marketing, let's say you do videos on a regular basis and you do articles, then you would make your articles and your videos responding to those particular issues. So it's almost like you're writing the articles specifically for those individuals. Okay. And I'll put a little qualifier here. Make sure that it's a topic that you like coaching people on because you'll start getting more of that type of business. Okay. So just make sure that whatever patterns that you notice that you do put into your marketing, that it is something that you want to foster and grow. Okay. And you'll find, people will notice it. Like let's say you write an article on LinkedIn and it's, the nice thing about the articles on LinkedIn, you're going to have that evergreen effect. It'll be SEO, search engine friendly. And so that'll help you have a long tail impact with the marketing that will help feed to the other.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Peri,
please.
I have a question about working with organizations. So if you're, say, working with an institution, whether it's like a corporation, a small business, or an education, like a school system, how would you like navigate the referral process there? Would you go through one person in particular, or how would you go about kind of gathering your referrals?
Okay. You brought up a great topic, and I'll share another piece of research that is relevant. I think it's 86 or 84%, anyways, high percentage of business to business decisions to buy a particular service or whatever starts with a referral. Okay. So that's the key factor to remember. So that, and that's the reason why with the corporate side of my business, that business has grown over time, even bigger and bigger and bigger because of the referrals that I get from that industry. Okay. So, so with that as a context, part of what you want to do is now, let me just ask Andre, are you starting to get referrals, or have you already been getting referrals?
I'm really just starting to get referrals and starting to engage these organizations.
Okay, great. So I'll give you a few little things that we do. Okay. First off, you want to make sure you have a relationship with 3 people in any organization that you're working with. Okay. And the reason why 3 is people leave and go elsewhere. Okay. And so you may have a decision to move forward, and then all of a sudden somebody's moved to another organization. We make sure that we're connected with people through LinkedIn because we want to know when they have moved. And then we have a period of time in which we let them settle in before we reach out to them. Okay. And because we've developed the relationship so well, that they're very, how can we describe it? Very content when we reach out, you know, it's a welcome piece. Also, another thing for you to consider is keep the relationship with people. When they move to another organization, they can give referrals inside that other organization. Also look at where have they come from before on their LinkedIn profile, because that's the organizations where they can give a referral back to that organization. Okay. And also, Andre, what type of coaching do you do?
It's diversity, equity, and inclusion coaching.
Ah, love it. Okay, one of my favorite topics. Okay. So awesome. You have got, wow, right now you've got an ideal opportunity and in terms of, so I would really be working on making sure that content that you're putting out there really includes what people are talking about, that you're hearing that people are talking about. That to me is absolutely essential. Another thing that my clients surprise me with, I love how creative some of my corporate clients are. I have corporate clients who gift me to their clients. Okay. And so they're footing the bill. So, and they've done it in different ways, which is really cool. So their top clients, they will say, look, you can have Peri's services for this amount. And so we work it out. And then if you want her for anything beyond that, then you make the arrangements directly with her. And so it's really awesome. It's a great way to be introduced to an organization. And it's opened doors with some really neat clients. Like 2 weeks ago, one of my clients reached out to me and said, I've got a referral for you. I said, oh, great. She says, but I have to talk to you about it first. I said, okay. We got on the phone. It was a referral to an organization that she is, so she gave me a referral for 2 individuals in an organization. One reports to the other. And she's footing the bill. She said, look, they need a lot of help and I really want to help them. So I want, you know, some training and I want some coaching and I, you know, can you do these things? And I said, yes. She said, can you go away? Think about it. I said, I'd like to have a conversation with both of them first and then come back to you based on my experience and see what's going on. And so I came back to her with a, you know, and it was just 4 lines because there were 4 things that I was suggesting and I put the amount of money beside each one. And I said, and I'm ready to, because she said, we'll have the conversation afterwards. And I said, I'm ready for the conversation about budget when you're ready, because she called it the budget conversation. And she wrote back and she said, it's done, it's covered, go ahead. And so I'm constantly amazed at how the referral process can work so well. But part of it is opening the doors so that they can see what's possible, making sure that you ask at the appropriate times when their satisfaction is super high. Do you also speak, Andre, about those topics, or is it?
I do. I would like to do more of it, but like I'm more than willing to do it. I haven't really done as much as I'd like. I'm really just starting out in this space, but you know, basically I do coaching, consulting, training, and also public speaking.
Great. Can I, Anastasia, can I mention something that I'm doing that's absolutely free that maybe,
Yes.
Andre, I love what you do, and I'll put this out for everybody else too. Next week, I'm doing a masterclass. It's free. And you end up with a strategy by the time you're finished that's based on the neuroscience of buying. If you want to join. I do it inside of a Facebook group just so that my corporate clients don't come in too. That's the reason why. So it's the group is called Selling with Science and Soul. And it would help you develop the strategy that combines with your speaking, etc. Okay.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you.
You're welcome, because it'll give you more details that I can do in the time frame that we have. And I think your topic is an amazing one. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Yes, Luna, great to see you too.
Amelia has a question about pricing, especially for companies.
Okay. Great. Pricing is such a big topic, okay? Because it's based on several factors, okay? Part of it is the industry, but part of it is also, it's a combination of your experience, the value that you provide, what kind of difference you make for the organization. I know, like for example, I'll give you some speaker examples. I know speakers who charge $30,000 for a talk that's an hour, and companies are, falling over themselves to buy it. So part of it is, what is the value that you provide in order to do that? Do you want to take yourself off mute for a second, Amelia, and we can talk a bit about it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So in terms of the pricing right now, have you gotten a sense of, are you doing like leadership coaching, executive coaching? What group category would you put it in?
I do take care of professionals who wants to improve their life, and as a result, their presence in the office, and streamline their goals
Okay.
professionally and personally.
So
take all of
I
that.
remember the professional part. And now, are you doing it in like, and I'll give another qualification too. And a lot of coaches don't think about this one. And I think this is so important when you're pricing yourself out there. Who's paying for it? Is the individual paying for it out of their personal pocket, or is it being paid for by the organization as part of their strategy for retention? Okay. And that makes a big distinction. Okay. So if they are paying personally, your price is going to be lower. If the organization is doing as part of the strategy, that's the executive coaching usually, then therefore your price, and then also because I do, for the very select few, I do some executive coaching. Okay. And with those individuals, often sales VPs or senior exec who are working on strategies for major growth. And with that, the organization is more, some people charge, it's off the charts, like they charge $5,000 or $10,000 an hour. Okay. You can get quite high in the categories, but if you charge too little, then you also put yourself out of that range. So part of it is finding that sweet spot. And also when people just automatically go, yes, I'll work with you, and you've got more people on your roster than you can navigate, then it's time to increase your prices. So there's a whole bunch of variables that play in this. Okay. Also, the amount of experience. If you're new, then your pricing is going to be slightly lower than someone who's got a lot of experience and gets great results. So part of it is you're navigating this world to figure out, where do you fit? And if you go to a price that's too high, you're going to get feedback that it's, you're going to find that you after multiple conversations, you're going, nobody's buying, and they seem really interesting, but they're choosing not to. So Amelia, as I mentioned, all of these various topics, is there, are you getting people saying that there's a challenge with your price right now?
No, but I don't get many.
Okay.
I'm very satisfied with their results.
Okay.
And I think I'm priced right.
Okay.
Not too low, it's not too high.
Okay. And so then what I would suggest is then to shift gears when the time comes that your roster is full. Then that'll be your time by which to, raise those prices again.
That's what I was thinking. It maybe bringing the pricing down a little bit will get the roster more full.
Well, only if people are saying, if you're having conversation. So you need to balance this by, are you having enough conversations to be able to make that decision?
No.
If you're not having enough conversations, then it's a problem about getting more conversations. It's not a price problem. Okay. And so you need to navigate that carefully.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also have a quick question.
Please.
I don't know how, but we have a few minutes left. So when you were talking about those five first kind of clients that you have that are going to bring you later on referrals, and then 2+ and 2+, for the new coaches, being the new coach, where do you find those, for example, 75% interesting potential clients? Because that's the process I get, but where do you find those initial ones?
Great question. All right. So part of it is, and it's in the doing of this that makes the difference. Okay. You don't want to intellectualize this because this is not where it comes. Okay. What it comes from, and it works every time, make a list of people who are potential clients that you know, or that you know somebody else who knows somebody. Okay. And make a list. Most people, when they do it, they have 30 at least, most 30 to 50. Okay. And then what you do is you take that list and you prioritize and you do some research. You want to, and here's the secret. And I didn't know this when I first started. I just accidentally fell into it when I first started. Okay. And I'm really grateful that I accidentally fell into it, but you can do it by design rather than default like I did. Okay. And so here we are, choose 5 individuals. Okay. But there's certain criteria for those 5 individuals, that those 5 individuals have a network. Don't choose individuals who don't have a network because they're not going to be able to give you referrals. Pretty simple. How do you find out if they have a network? We have social media that will help you immensely in that regard. Okay. And then that individual, once you've done the work with them, they can give you 2 individuals, and then 2, and then 2, and it just starts to grow from there. I accidentally fell into that the individuals that the first 5 that I chose to work with had networks, and they started to introduce me to others. And so I'm very grateful that I accidentally fell into that, but I hope that you can borrow that. And so just do the research. Often someone who's part of associations is helpful. So, and particularly if they're in the leadership of that organization, that's helpful. So there's multiple ways by which you can do that. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Any more questions, comments? Come on, guys, it's 5. It's not 7 or 9 p.m. yet.
I'll see until you have them complete.
This was great. Thank you so much for giving us this presentation. This was great, Peri.
Oh, you're very welcome, Andre. Thank you for saying so.
Peri, then a quick question from me. I don't want to take up all the questions.
You can ask.
Do those, like an email, for example, we have a list of 30 people that know other people, right? But then they're not necessarily our clients yet. But do you find that those kind of an email or message or even meeting with them, kind of saying, hi, this is what I do. In case you know someone, please refer or send them my way. Do those ones work? No, not really.
Here's a little secret that I'll share. You will find that you will get introductions and referrals in a conversation, not necessarily from an email. Okay. So it's not something that, because some people are uncomfortable, they try to put it in an email. Instead, do it in a conversation. Ask the individual if you can add it on to, if you're in a coaching dynamic, ask them if you can add it, 5 minutes. That's all it takes to your conversation. And don't do it during a time frame that they're paying for. Okay, that's the reason why I say add an extra 5 minutes. And if it's someone who you aren't meeting with regularly, but you think there's a great match, do a coffee, or do a virtual coffee, but arrange to do it so that you're doing it within a conversation. Okay. Yeah. Hope that's helpful.
Thank you. And there are some comments. A lot of people were grateful. And I agree with Dubna that she sent it to me. You're very giving. You gave us today a lot of valuable information. And whoever is interested to continue and get a free, I guess you said workshop, what it's going to be on the Facebook?
It's a masterclass next week. And in my in the Facebook group, I ask questions every day to help you expand your thinking about your business as well. So it's a place where I do a lot of giving per se to those who are entrepreneurs. So yeah.
Great. And so you can see the name on the chat. Peri, can you repeat it one more time? The Science of...
Selling with Science and Soul is the name of the Facebook group. Yeah. And if you
a few people already joining, thank you for your time. That was really incredible. We're very grateful, very happy to have you.